Hello, this is the trade site U.S. stocks and futures market preview for Thursday the 11th and Friday the 12th of July 2019. As usual, we don't typically do a market preview for the last day of the week, which would be Friday, so I'm not going to do it more than likely. Here's the ES front month, so this will cover the rest of the week, by the way. So here's the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the broad market and futures form, and as you can see, we have a 13 seeker sell signal on the daily chart of the broad market, which is really interesting to see. So we'll see what that leads to. The last one flattened us out for a month, and that was it. If we go back, we've had some that didn't mean a lot. We don't get them that often. And when they do have them, they tend to at least flatten out the market. So we'll see what happens, but something to keep your eye on. Let's go through the major daily charts, and then we will go from there. We got crude oil up 20 cents to 60.63 as we enter hurricane season here in the U.S. Of course, gold up $12.30, back near the highs again. S&P cash gains 13.44. Nasdaq 100 up 76.54. That's a new closing high finally on the Nasdaq. The SOX up 10. That's not a big deal. Nowhere near a high. Biotech's down 9.82. Nowhere near a high. The Russell hasn't done anything all year. This is amazing. So the SOX is mid-range, the biotechs are down in mid-range, and the Russell 2000 hasn't done anything all year, and yet the Nasdaq 100 hits new highs. What does that mean? It means we're back to the FANG stocks, the top few stocks in the market, making all the gains that rally the Nasdaq. The VIX down 1.06 to 1303. Trend closes at 1.01. That puts the 10-day moving average right around there, so it doesn't mean much either. Nasdaq volume 2 billion shares. Advanced decline ratio on the, by the way, that's lighter volume still. Advanced decline ratio on the Nasdaq plus 342 on the New York plus 721. Now, here's where all your gains in the Nasdaq come from. Google up 16.62. Apple up basically 2 points, even though it's not new highs. Netflix up $1.07. Amazon up 29.11, approaching $1 trillion in market cap. Tesla up 8.86. Facebook up $3.52, new closing highs on Facebook. We had a long there the day before on the breakout. Goldman Sachs, which isn't in the Nasdaq, down actually $1.80, and TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, down 73 cents. And you're getting near a 13 seeker sell signal on the TLT, by the way. By the way, look at the signals on the TLT. The 13 at the bottom in November, late October, leads to a rally. The 13 is the top. We stall out for 3 months, and now we're focusing on another one here. So at least maybe some stall out finally on those 20-year bonds. All right. In terms of intraday action, here's the 5-minute candles. Gapped up, went higher, came back, broke the lows. We're heading into the gap. Didn't quite fill it. And that's it. That was the whole day. By the time 2 hours in, we're over. The rest of the day was just a drift back up to the midpoint and dead flat. Very uneventful afternoon. Here's the Nasdaq side, same thing. Gapped up, pushed higher, came back, swept the lows, didn't come close to filling the gap, missed it by 30 points, 35 points, 25 points or so, and then just flat on the view at midpoint area the rest of the session. So I think the main thing here is to watch that ES with that 13 seeker now in place. If we go to projection mode, that's where we're at. In terms of economic data for the rest of the week, remember, we're done. We got a couple things. So Fed Chair Powell's testifying to the other side of Congress. We've got the CPI an hour before the bell, initial and continuing jobless claims an hour before the bell, natty gas an hour into the market, 30-year bond auction at 1, federal budget balance at 2 Eastern. Friday, the only data is the PPI an hour before the bell. It's summertime. Fridays in the summer are not usually the most exciting. We've still got another month or so of that, so I wouldn't bank on much on Friday, especially with no economic data. Just remember, next week, even though it's not a triple expiration, it is summer expiration. Options expire on Friday, and so we'll probably get an unraveling move, and next Friday is probably going to be a complete waste of time. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken the trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading Thursday and Friday.